everyone and welcome back to my channel Micro and Mol Bio with Dr. Sunita Bundale. In the previous lectures, we have talked about direct DNA repair and nucleotide excision repair pathway. In today's lecture, we will talk about yet another excision repair pathway, that is the base excision repair pathway. And in the next lecture, we will be talking about the mismatch repair pathway. The pathway most commonly employed to remove non-bulky lesions, particularly incorrect bases like uracil or damaged bases like 3-methyladenine, is called the base excision repair. Actually, it's misleading to talk about this as a pathway because there are numerous variations, each specific for a different type of incorrect base. Nevertheless, all of the variant pathways have features in common, and each of the pathways can be considered to consist of 3 steps, with the steps 2 and 3 being common for all the pathways. This is a double-stranded DNA with a damaged base. The first step is removal of the incorrect base by an appropriate DNA N-glycosylase to create an AP site. This is followed by nicking of the damaged DNA strand by AP endonuclease upstream of the AP site, thus creating a 3' OH terminus adjacent to the AP site. The third step involves extension of the 3' OH terminus by a DNA polymerase accompanied by excision of the AP site. Let us now move on and talk about this pathway in detail. Specificity of the various pathways is conferred by DNA and glycosylases. These are small monomeric enzymes with no cofactor or divalent cation requirement. Most are highly specific for a certain type of altered base, but some have more relaxed specificity. The crystal structures of many of the DNA glycosylases have been determined. They are similar to each other and they suggest a common mode of action with variations depending on specific structure recognized by the glycosylase. It appears that DNA glycosylases recognize the damaged base and gently pinch the DNA while scanning it, with the result that the DNA kinks at positions of instability caused by mismatching. The glycosylases all possess attractive binding sites for the bases that they are designed to recognize. The DNA kinking combined with additional pushing by the enzyme encourages the mismatched bases to flip out of the DNA double helix and enter the binding site. If the binding site offers a good fit, the base remains inside long enough for its bond to deoxyribose in the DNA backbone to be severed by the enzyme. Thus, it removes the damaged DNA base. These enzymes hydrolyze the N-glycosylic bond between the base and the deoxyribose by the action of, say, in this example, uracil DNA N-glycosylase. This gives rise to an abasic site or an AP site. If the base that has been removed is a purine, it's called a purinic site. If the base that has been removed is a pyrimidine, it is called a pyrimidinic site. Otherwise, we simply prefer to call it an AP site. The AP site created by a DNA N-glycosylase is identical to that created by spontaneous DNA purination or depyrimidination. The next step in BER, that is BER, is catalyzed by an AP endonuclease. These enzymes break the phosphodiester bond, making a 3' OH end for DNA polymerase. All the known AP endonucleases are categorized in 4 classes. Class 1 AP endonucleases make a 3' incision such that 3' OH and 5' phosphate ends are generated, whereas class 2 AP endonucleases make a 5' incision such that 3' OH and 5' phosphate ends are generated. Class 3 AP endonucleases are known to create 3' phosphate and 5' OH at the 3' side of the AP endonuclease. Whereas class 4 AP endonucleases create a 5' incision such that 3' phosphate and 5' OH non-ligatable ends are created. The most common AP endonuclease activities are of class 2, accounting for about 90% of the total AP endonuclease in the E. coli cells. Similar enzymes are also found in eukaryotic organisms. In Saccharomyces cerevisiae, the major AP endonuclease is related to endo-4, but in mammalian cells, AP endonucleases related to exonuclease 3 are more abundant. Let us now have a bird's eye view of the events in BER up to the AP endonuclease action. After strand cleavage by AP endonuclease, the upper strand on the left side of the nick retains a 3' OH terminus that can easily be extended by a polymerase. The strand on the right side of the nick retains a 2' deoxy 5' phosphate terminus that must be removed to permit ligation. This non-nucleotide terminus is removed by one of the two alternative pathways which we will see. In the mammalian cells, the major pathway is mediated by DNA polymerase beta, which has two distinct enzymatic activities. Using its polymerase activity, polymerase beta incorporates the correct nucleotide at the AP site, in this case C, and then with a recently discovered deoxyribose phosphatase activity or DRPase activity, it excises the deoxyribose phosphate moiety. This pathway, utilizing DNA polymerase beta, generates a repair patch, only a single nucleotide in length. The final ligation step is carried out by DNA ligase in partnership with the XRCC1 protein. The alternative longer patch pathway is also sometimes employed in mammalian cells and is usually employed in yeast cells. The longer patch pathway depends on enzymes normally involved in DNA replication. The mechanism probably involves synthesis of a new stretch of DNA several nucleotides long by DNA polymerase delta or epsilon. This results in displacement of the strand terminated by the deoxyribose phosphate group. The displaced strand is then probably removed by a structure-specific nuclease, particularly F1 endonuclease, to create a ligatable substrate. This enzyme appears to play a similar role in the maturation of Okazaki fragments behind replication forks. Finally, DNA ligase 1 seals the nick and the damage is repaired. With this, we come to an end of this lecture where we have talked about the base excision repair pathway. In the next lecture, we will be talking about mismatch repair pathway followed by the SOS response. Thank you.